If you like to make your NFL games a little bit more interesting, you've come to the right place. It's the Even Money Podcast with Ross Tucker and Steve Fezzik.
Yeah, Vegas, baby, Vegas. It is the Even Money Podcast. We are, of course, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. I'm Ross Tucker, former NFL offensive lineman, 5 teams, 7 years. Most of you know that. Now I'm a broadcaster. I got Navy Air Force on Saturday for CBS, noon Eastern time. And then Monday night, back in the Monday night booth on radio for the third straight week. This time, though, it'll be with Kevin Harlan for the Saints and the Chiefs. Very much looking forward to that one. Should be absolutely awesome. You can check me out on social media. Appreciate those of you that you do. At Ross Tucker NFL. We are at Ross Tucker Pod. The star of the show is the one and only Steve Fezzik. Check him out on social media at Fezzik Sports. You can always get all of our bets on the vaunted spreadsheet from our guy Grades at patreon.com/RTmedia. That gives you access to the private Tuckhead Slack channel where our guy Grades posts the spreadsheet with all of our info every week. Getting more and more of you guys signing up to check that out, which is cool. Jason Faulkner, Paul Graham, and Zach Kroger, to name a few, which is awesome. Recording this a little bit even earlier than we normally do because I got to fly back to Pennsylvania after doing that Titans-Dolphins game last night. So even earlier, Steve got up even earlier for us this week, which is absolutely awesome. A lot awesomer, Steve, than how you and I did this past week. It was a struggle. For the week, I was down 6 units. You were down 17 units. For the year, I am now down 17 units. You are down 28 units. We were 1-2 on our best bets against the line, 3-7 on our teaser best bets. So for the week, 4-9 on our best bets. For the year, 11-16 on our best bets. I got to tell you, Steve, I think we've been doing this like 10 years. And to see me down 17 units and you down 28 units, this is the lowest and worst it's been in 10 years. We have a very documented track record of being up in terms of units on a yearly basis. Certainly a decent amount up over the course of the show, but we're off to a rough start, Steve. There's no way around it.
Yeah, maybe it's karma because I was calling out some others that were having poor performance and had bad weeks, and then I followed up with having a terrible week myself. Now, the picks I give out on the show are not the same picks I give to my clients, but I got to be honest, I had one of the worst weeks I've had for the year for my clients. I was up like 80 units going into the week, and now I'm sitting like plus 60 units. So I'm on a 20 unit negative swing on the picks I give out to my clients. But I tell everyone, don't look to get me for any day, week. Get me for the year. Everything will be fine. Everyone, relax, everybody. We're doing our very best. The Wong teasers obviously have been terrible, and that's been a big part of our performance. But you know what? I believe in the math, and I'll continue to play them. There was a year, I think, Peyton Manning threw like 8 interceptions in 3 games, and he's like, I'm going to keep swinging it. I'm going to keep spinning it down the field. It's what I always do, and things will work out.
Unbelievable, by the way, Steve. I feel like on some level we can't catch a break. My first 5 teaser legs all hit. You know, I mean, at least the way I wrote them down, the Bucks, the Saints, the Vikings, Colts, Chiefs, but couldn't get the Jets to win that game at home against the Broncos. The Bills surprisingly got blown out. So those were the 2 teaser legs that blew up on me. But I only put 1 unit on all of them. You put 2 units on all the ones that you did. So it started on Thursday night. I leaned to the Giants getting 4.5. You took the Giants 2 units, 4.5. Steve, they lost by 5. I mean, we lost that one by half a point. Giants could not score a touchdown to save their life. I thought that was actually a pretty evenly matched game. Just Good idea there of the importance of the number, I guess.
Yeah, that's the disadvantage of only doing one podcast a week. And hey, I'm a big boy. My mistake. I should have said I lean Giants and wait till post on a Singleton game. Shocker, went to 5, then 5.5, then back to 5. Landed on the number and I lost. That's a bad job by me.
Next up, Saints Falcons. You like the under for 1 unit at 42.5. Game ended 26-24, so you lost that unit. We both had the Saints in a teaser leg up to +8, and of course that hit. They only lost by 2, so that was one of the teaser legs that came through for us. Now we move on to a couple of back-to-back best bets. Bengals, Panthers. We both like the Panthers getting 4.5. I put 2 units on it. You put 1 unit on it. It was a best bet. Unfortunately, Panthers defense couldn't stop the Bengals at all. They lose by 10. We lose our bet. And then the Rams-Bears. The Rams were getting 3 points. They had more yards than the Bears, significantly more yards, but they also had the turnovers. They lost by 6. Steve, we were getting 3.
Yeah, several phony finals this week. Rams played the Bears evenly. We should have had a better fate. That Saints game, they should never have lost to Atlanta. There was 2 fluky touchdowns in that game, both for the Falcons.
Next up, Vikings, Packers. That's a really, really good point, Steve. Really good point about those touchdowns, the pick 6 and the muffed punt. All right, what about Vikings, Packers? You liked the Packers laying the 2.5. I just teased the Vikings up to +8.5. Packers end up losing the game outright. You leaned to the over. Man, the over hit in a major way. It was 43.5. Final score 31-29. Jags, Texans. Neither one of us had anything. Steelers, Colts. You leaned to the Colts, or to the Steelers. I think they were laying 1.5. I had the Colts as a teaser leg up to +7.5. They won the game outright, so obviously that came through. Broncos, Jets. We both, and this I gotta be a good teammate here, Steve, and totally blame you because I wouldn't have done this because it wasn't going through the number. Jets -7. It wasn't going through a 7.5 or an 8.5. It went to -1. They lost in the pouring rain, which also did us no favors. Steve, it's totally your fault.
Yeah, and this one, if I had to do it again, I would have played even more teasers with the Jets because they closed, obviously, as an 8-point favorite. So we essentially teased a 7-point favorite and only had to pay for 6 points because it was -7. So if I went back in my time machine, I would have played even more teasers and lost even more money.
All right, Eagles, Bucks. I had the Bucks as a teaser leg up to +8.5. You did as well, Steve, and obviously they won the game outright significantly, 33-16. So that was a teaser leg that came through for us. There's not a lot, Steve, but we did have a DraftKings crowning moment, and that was us taking Washington +3.5 against Arizona. Not only did they cover, they won the game outright by a lot. So you and I getting the 3.5 points was a very good bet. Crowning Moments is presented by DraftKings. Submit your winning bets for a chance to be featured. DraftKings, the crown is yours. All right. Patriots, Niners. I put a point on the Patriots getting 10. Just 1 unit, I mean, not a point. I put 1 unit on the Patriots getting 10. They get blown out by 17. Chargers, Chiefs. We had the Chiefs from -8 down to -2. That came through for us as they won by 7. Browns, Raiders was, I can't even remember who was laying the point at that point when we did the show. 20-16, the Raiders won. That was the game I called for CBS. Bills, Ravens, man, that surprised me, Steve. We both took the Bills up to, you did not. I did. I took the Bills up to +8.5. They had not. Oh yeah, you did. I'm confused here. You did too. But we took the Bills up to +8.5. They had not lost by more than 6 points, Steve, in 43 games. 43 games with Josh Allen and McDermott. The Bills, it had all been 6 points or less. We were getting 8.5. They lose by 25, Steve.
Well, they made up for it, didn't they now? So just a great game by Baltimore, no doubt.
Titans, Dolphins. Oh, my gosh. You took the under in that one, Steve? I forgot about that. You've got to be kidding me. That game I called last night where they did they had the safety and then they had the onside kick where the guy kicked it out of. Oh my God.
In a play that may be significant to some. Fourth down run that gets in the end zone. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Steve, that's one of the worst bets I've ever seen. We were talking about it during the commercial break. Oh my gosh, you were one of the people that got beat by the under on that.
Yes, I was. So, and that happened just hours ago. So, fresh in my memory.
Oh my gosh, that's brutal. I had the Seahawks getting 4 points against the Lions. I'm really surprised the Lions scored 42 points. I was not expecting that. It was a rough week, which to me means primarily, Steve, that we are absolutely poised for a bounce back. Everyone should be poised to go to westshorehome.com/Ross. Those guys were out at my house last week. I think I'm going to get a new door going into my office studio. It's like a detached garage. And then probably new windows as well. If you've been thinking about a full bath remodel or just new showers, we got those before. Entry door is great for return on investment. Absolutely. People don't want bathtubs anymore. They just want showers. That's what we did. Anyway, you can get free installation with 48 months, 0% interest, plus an extra $500 off. Just visit westshorehome.com/Ross. Plus, those guys are listeners, which I love supporting listener-owned businesses from you guys. westshorehome.com/Ross to redeem. Your wife will be so happy with you. You can just go and have some delicious Labatt Blue Lights with your friends and live life to the power of we. Always enjoy responsibly. Beer, Labatt USA, Buffalo, New York. We move forward, Steve, and for the first time, there are some buys. I don't know how many, but there are some buys. The Thursday night game, it's the Bucs and the Falcons. The Bucs are getting 1.5. The total's 43.5.
So, no-brainer. Divisional game should be a close game. Atlanta, phony win last week. I don't trust them to win by margin. Tampa Bay will be one of many teasers. I will outline whether I play 1 or 2 units on them, depending on how many I have, but Tampa Bay and teasers.
Yep, teaser leg for me as well with the Bucs up to plus 7.5. Thoroughly impressed by how they were able to play against the Eagles last week. I'm not really sure what happened to the Bucs against the Broncos, but I would be surprised if they laid an egg on Thursday Night Football against the Atlanta Falcons. I am not expecting that. That's my first teaser leg, Steve, as well. Next up, Sunday morning. It's across the pond in Tottenham. And by the way, the total was 43.5 for Falcons Bucs. Now we got the Jets and the Vikings. The Jets are getting 2.5. Totals 40.5, Steve, over in London Sunday morning.
Yeah, I'm going to tease the Jets in a bounce back spot. Hey, the season's going to get away from these guys if they don't show up. I know the Vikings have been awesome for 4 straight games, but now they're in a different role where all of a sudden they're the ones that's laying points. That wasn't the case during the summer. The Jets were actually a 3.5-point favorite in this game. So teasing the Jets. And by the way, for those who are like, why are they playing all these teasers and the like, some homework, go read Sharp Sports Betting by my friend Stanford Wong that outlines why it's so valuable to tease through the 3, through the 7, and it's just mathematically the better play when you have a 2-point dog or a 1.5-point dog or a 2.5-point dog to tease them rather than to bet them straight up.
Yeah, that's another leg for me as well. I've got the Jets plus 2.5, so it's best bet on those two teaser legs thus far. How about the Sunday 1 o'clock games? The Browns are in Washington. The Browns are getting 3.5. Totals 44.5. Steve, their quarterback played pretty well against the Raiders, and they still lost because of some of the mistakes that they made.
Well, as an offensive lineman, you had to be offended by that holding call against the Browns last week. Surely that cost them the long touchdown. Am I correct?
You know what? The initial angle, it was a terrible call. But then from the reverse angle from behind, it's always the outside arm that is the holding in that situation. And his outside arm was fine. In this instance, he kept hanging on the jersey with his left hand, his inside hand, and you could see the jersey stretch. I don't love the call, but I can absolutely see why the official called it. Very, very unfortunate.
There's holding on every call. You don't need to call it. Cleveland plus 3.5, contrarian as it gets. I know Cleveland's struggling. I know Washington's playing great, but now Washington's in a new role. Washington's now laying points, and I think they're going to be reading their press clippings. I'll take the Browns plus 3.5, 2 units.
Totally agree. I'm with you on that. That is a best bet. I think the Browns will play better, and you're right about the Commanders in the favorite role. That's a little bit different for them. So we're sharing a brain so far. Now, that's usually, over the course in the history of this show, a very, very good thing. That has not been a great thing necessarily so far this year, although we're still probably better on our best bets than we are alone. But I'm with you. Browns plus 3.5, 2 units. Total on that game's 44.5, which is interesting. All right, the Ravens are laying 2.5 on the road, Steve, coming off that big Sunday night win over the Bills. Total's 41.
Yep, should be a great game, competitive game. I'm absolutely teasing the Bengals, so that's the third of my teaser legs I'm throwing into wheeling my round robin here.
Yep, I'm with you as well. Bengals up to plus 8.5. Their offense has been electric. I think the Ravens come back down to earth a little bit after that blowout win over the Bills. Bengals got a win. I think there will be a decent amount of points in this game. Feels like a 27-24 game, which is probably why the total is 51. We'll take the Bengals up to plus 8.5. Panthers are getting 4 on the road against the Bears. Total is 42.
Yeah, I was surprised to see I made the number higher, so I'm going to pass the game. But my gut says, who are the Bears to be laying 4? Phony win by the Bears last week. But Carolina and New England are the 2 worst teams in the NFL. I pass.
I'm taking the Carolina Panthers plus 4 for 2 units for the exact reason you just mentioned. Yeah, they're off. Their defense has been terrible. I'm not sure the Bears can really take advantage of the bad Carolina defense. I think that this game ends up being a close game. Carolina plus 4, 2 units. The Bills are getting a point in Houston. Totals 47, Steve.
So there are 2 games where my teams are only getting plus 1, so I can't tease to plus 7. Well, I can, but it's wrong. I have to use a 6.5 point teaser. So there's 2 games that this is going to fall into. Hey, Buffalo went 43 straight games without getting blown out, and then they lost by a zillion. So I'll go to the well. This should be a close game. This is going to be a 3 unit, 6.5 point teaser. I'm going to tease Buffalo up to plus 7.5. I'm going to tease Miami from plus 1 up to plus 7.5 against New England. That's a 3 unit, 6.5 point teaser.
Wow. All right, Steve. Make sure we grade him accordingly. Grades when he goes with the 6.5 point teaser. Steve's got the Bills and the Dolphins up to 7.5, 6.5 point teasers. I got nothing. I don't do the 6.5 point teasers typically. I'll just move on to the Colts and the Jags. The Colts are getting 2.5. The Jags are 2.5 point favorites. Steve, total is 46.5.
So I'm going to go against my power ratings, which have the Jags as just a half-point favorite. My gut says that Indy played really well last week. They lose Richardson. Flacco plays well. But Pittsburgh moved the ball extremely well. Jacksonville, it's coming apart for them. If they lose this game, their season's absolutely donezo, and their coach is going to get fired shortly thereafter. In a must-win game with a winless team, I'm going to lay it with Jacksonville 2 units.
Wow. All right. Laying the 2.5 with the Jags, 2 units. I'm taking the Colts as a teaser leg up to plus 8.5. I've seen enough of the Jags this year. Maybe they'll win, but I don't know. To win in a blowout, Colts are one of my teaser legs, plus 8.5, 2 units. Smirnoff knows there's no I in football. Football is a we thing, an experience that is best enjoyed together with good drinks and good folks. Smirnoff's the world's #1 vodka and an official vodka partner of the NFL. And this year, Smirnoff is giving fans in select areas of the country a chance to win the ultimate game day experience, from tickets to sideline passes and much more. Just head to WeDoGameDays.com until November 15th to enter for your chance to win. Smirnoff, We Do Game Days. Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff number 21 vodka, distilled from grain, 40% alcohol by volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Please do not share with anyone under legal drinking age. No purchase necessary. 21 plus. Ends 11/15/24. See rules at website for participating areas and other important details. Sponsored by Diageo Americas Incorporated, New York, New York. We talked Dolphins, Patriots already. Total is a low 35.5, which sounds about right for these two teams. Steve teased the Dolphins up to plus 7.5, and I must have hit a button as I'm looking at their lines. So our next game, as we keep it rolling, it is the Cardinals and the Niners. The Cardinals on the road are getting 7.5. Totals 50.5, Steve.
Yep. So the line is kind of like 7.25, 7.3. I'll lean to San Fran teasers, but I'm not going to do it because I think Arizona, they're better than what they've shown so far. I could see them circling the wagons in this game. I got nothing on it.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Cardinals getting the 7.5 points. They were embarrassed at home by the Commanders. Niners still don't have McCaffrey. I think the Cardinals make a game out of this and really give the Niners a tough one, and it comes down to the end. Probably Niners still win, but I like the Cardinals getting the 7.5 for 2 units. What about the Raiders? They're getting 3 points on the road against the Broncos. Totals 36.5, Steve.
So this is wagering 101. I get 2 equal teams. Home field is not worth 3 points. It's worth 2 points, maybe even a little less than a divisional game. I don't know who's going to win. I'm catching the field goal. Raiders, 2 units.
Yeah, I think I'll do the same. I don't love that the Raiders might not have Devontae Adams or Max Crosby, but they won anyway. Broncos won a game. Everybody's patting them on their back a little bit. I think this is a field goal game either way. Broncos can't really score points. So Raiders plus 3, 2 units. That's the best bet. How about the Packers and the Rams? Rams are getting 3.5 at home. Totals 48, Steve.
You know, I'm surprised that the Rams are – well, actually, I'm not surprised. The Rams still are like one of the most injured teams in the NFL, and I do think Green Bay – will be a playoff team and a somewhat elite team by the time the year's over with. I'm going to pass the game.
I'm taking the Rams 2 units. I don't feel great about it after last week against the Bears and how they cost me a couple units. But I said it before, I'll say it again. I'm going to have faith in McVay and Stafford to be able to get this win, or at least cover the game. Rams plus 3.5. Jordan Love says his knee's still bothering him. Giants, Seahawks. Giants are getting 6 points on the road. Totals 42, Steve.
So I was surprised. I actually make this game 7.5 on my power ratings, Ross. But the spot is great for the Giants. So this is Warren Sharp extra rest differential 101, where the Giants played Thursday, and now they get 10 days. Seattle short week. That compensates for the my power ratings not lining up, so I pass.
Yeah, heavy lean to the Giants for me, getting the 6 points. Heavy lean for the reasons you just mentioned. What about the Cowboys getting 2.5 Sunday night in Pittsburgh? Totals 43.
So during the summer, the Cowboys were favored, and now it's flipped, and now I can tease them all the way up to 8.5. I have to do that. This is going to be my 4th teaser leg using 6 points, taking Dallas upwards. So I have Since I'm teasing 4 teams in a round robin, that's going to be 6 different combinations. Every one of them is going to be our standard 2 units. And by the way, Grades knows this. If I say I have a play and I don't say how many units, it's always a 2-unit play. But Dallas in 6-point teasers.
Yep, Dallas is a teaser for me, up to plus 8.5. I don't think the Steelers are going to blow anybody out. Those are one of my 5 teaser legs. Mine are all 2 units as well. Monday night, the game I've got, Steve, Saints are getting 5. Totals 42.5 in Kansas City.
All right. I will lean to the under. New Orleans should have gone under, I think, against Atlanta, but the 2 phony touchdowns. And Kansas City, it's interesting. We're having discussion on who's the best team in the NFL. And we throw out like 3 different teams like Baltimore and the like and Detroit. And no one even mentioned Kansas City. Hey, they're only the greatest dynasty we've seen in recent times. I got nothing on the side. I lean to the under.
Yeah, the Chiefs, now that they lose Rashee Rice, I like the Saints getting plus 5. I think it's a close game. Give me New Orleans plus 5, 2 units. That'll do it for this week's Even Money podcast. Good luck, everybody. Hope you guys win some money.
Thanks for tuning in to Even Money. Make sure to also check out the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, Fantasy Feast, and College Draft, all on the DraftKings Network, YouTube, or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform.